ensure all phones and electronic devices are set to silence. Mr. Volkey will now lead us in the invocation and pledge.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Please pray in a manner consistent with your faith as I pray in a manner consistent with mine. Father God, thank you for this opportunity to gather this evening together, to engage in public discourse, and to hear the thoughts of the people that we've been elected and put into positions of trust to represent. We ask that you will help us to have ears, that we hear these concerns, that we understand what is being presented to us, and that we have the ability to then take that information and make good choices for all the citizens of this county. We thank you for the opportunity tonight to all gather together safely and to do what we're doing in a democratic and free process. And thank you because you are not everywhere in the world that has that opportunity. So with that, God, we just pray that you will take this evening, that you will use it for you, and that at the end we will walk out of here and we will all be better and blessed as a result of it. So in your name we pray. Amen. And now the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Is there any item any council member would like to place on the agenda? May I have a motion that the partial reading of any bill, resolution, amendment to a bill or resolution, or minutes constitutes the reading of the whole?
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Madam Secretary, please read the titles of the budget bills for the benefit of our members of the public.
Bill number 3325, an ordinance concerning annual budget and appropriation ordinance of Anne Arundel County. Bill number 3425, an ordinance concerning tax levies, special community benefit districts, short erosion control districts, and waterways improvement districts. Bill number 3525, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Arundel Gateway special taxing district. Bill number 3625, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Arundel Mills special taxing district. Bill number 3725, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Dorchester special taxing district. Bill number 3825, an ordinance concerning tax levies, National Business Park special taxing district. Bill number 3925, an ordinance concerning tax levies, National Business Park North special taxing district. Bill number 4025, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Two Rivers special taxing district. Bill number 4125, an ordinance concerning tax levies, Village South at Wall Chapel special taxing district. Bill number 4225, an ordinance concerning finance, taxation and budget, parking lot and garage tax. Bill number 4325, an ordinance concerning public works, utilities, metered water and wastewater charges. Bill number 4425, an ordinance concerning public works, solid waste collection, solid waste service charge, solid waste landfill, and facility delivery fees. Bill number 4525, an ordinance concerning public works, utilities, water and wastewater, capital facility recruitment charge, capital facility connection charges. Bill number 4625, an ordinance concerning property tax and semi-annual payment service charge.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. Before we open the public hearing, I would like to remind everyone in attendance, whether testifying or as a member of the audience, we must maintain decorum at all times. We have a couple of individuals who are here to make brief statements about the budget. Chris Trumbauer, our budget officer, Skip Auld, the CEO of the Monroe County Public Libraries, and Christina Corona, president of TAC. Mr. Trumbauer.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair, members of the County Council, for the record, I'm Chris Trumbauer, Budget Officer for Anne Arundel County. Thank you for the opportunity to give a brief overview of County Executive Stuart Pittman's proposed budget for 2026. And I have to say, the green backlighting is very visually pleasing. Well done today, James. The Budget Office approached this budget year with some caution due to a state expenditure shift of nearly $12 million and a highly unpredictable federal funding landscape. However, I'm pleased to report that the fiscal foundation of Anne Arundel County remains strong. This is reflected once again by receiving this year the Triple Crown credit ratings of AAA from the three major credit agencies, as well as our projections for ending another year with a healthy fund balance. Overall, current year revenue from local income, property, and real estate taxes is projected to be a combined $41.9 million above initial estimates. In addition, the county also continues to benefit from elevated interest income for static balances and reserves due to the current high interest rates. Looking ahead to fiscal year 2026, we're projecting decreased growth for local income tax revenue, while property tax and real estate tax revenue should remain generally consistent with current year growth. This year's proposed general fund budget is $2,401,417,800, an increase of $89 million, or about 3.8% compared to the adopted budget for fiscal year 25. Adjusting for fund balance and one-time revenue yields a $111.5 million increase, or 5.3%. The fiscal year 26 proposed budget is balanced, and there is no structural deficit. All recurring expenses are being paid for with recurring revenues, and we are holding an additional $10 million in reserve as a contingency for federal funding impacts. There are no proposed changes to the local income tax rates. They are the same as the current year. The proposed property tax rate is 97.7 cents per $100 of assessed value, which is a 0.7 cent tax cut from the current rate of 98.3 cents. All other current tax rates remain unchanged with the exception of the local parking tax, which is increasing from 60 cents per 24 hours to $1 per 24 hours, the first increase since 1999, that was last millennium. The responsible fiscal management of the past several years has allowed the county to continue critical investments in education, public safety, and important health and human service programs. For our school system, the budget includes $981.2 million of direct funding, which is a record $52 million increase from last year. In addition, the state shifted $9.3 million of public education costs to the county, so the total amount of new funding is more than $61 million. This is a significant investment and supports many key outcomes. The proposed budget funds the compensation package recommended by the school superintendent, which includes a 3% cost of living adjustment and step movement for all units. It funds 63 new positions, including 28 in special education, 14 community school program managers, 10 English language acquisition teachers, 2 bilingual facilitators, and 11 new social and emotional learning positions. The budget also meets all blueprint requirements, expands the middle school athletics program, and funds a non-invasive weapons detection pilot program. For public safety, the proposed budget provides funding to add a full shift to the police department's innovative real-time information center. We're also adding 5 new positions for the Fire Training Academy, which will allow the department to run 2 classes per year and keep field staff in the field to reduce overtime costs. The budget also proposes 2 new civilian communication operators for the Sheriff's Office, which will free up sworn deputies for courtroom security or other tasks. And the Office of Emergency Management is creating a new deputy director for 911 operations. For Health and Human Services, the proposed budget transitions several successful initiatives started with federal recovery funding over to recurring county general funds. These include the Healthy Communities Program, the Health Ambassador Program, the Violence Interruption Program, and expanded crisis response, as well as funding for the Arundel County Food Bank. The proposed budget also supports a new child enrichment center for child care at Van Bachman Elementary School. The proposed budget fully funds our annual pension and retiree health care contributions and continues the county's policy of maximizing our contribution to the revenue reserve or rainy day fund at 8% of the forecasted operating revenues. The county successfully negotiated with all 7 bargaining units that needed new agreements. The proposed budget also includes a 3% cost of living adjustment for non-represented employees and the same for contractual workers. The proposed budget also supports our vibrant library system and our world-class Antelope Community College with new funding of $2.5 million and $1.2 million respectively. Proposed county utility rates have modest increases consistent with the program adopted in the current budget year. The annual trash and recycling fee is proposed to be $426. That's up $22 or 5.4%. Water and sewer rates are proposed at $3.65 and $6.42 per 1,000 gallons respectively. These are increases of 6% or 20 cents for water rates and 36 cents for sewer rates. The capital facility connection charge is proposed to increase by 10%. The annual bill for a residential water and sewer customer is estimated to be about $954, which remains among the lowest in the region. The county's stormwater fee will remain unchanged. In addition to the operating budget, the 6-year capital improvement program is before the county council now. The proposed capital budget is well within all the county debt affordability guidelines and is nearly $10 million under the affordability limit for the cumulative 6-year program. The capital budget provides full funding for all current school construction programs and maximizes state grant funding opportunities. There's 13 new capital projects in the general fund. These include 3 in our parks class, the Severn Dams expansion, South River Farm Park repairs and improvements, and field improvements for Arden and Waterbury Parks. We're also funding improvements for I-97 between Route 50 and 32, and the budget includes out-year funding for a new Route Park for Eastern Specialty School in Millersville. I'll also note that the county is undertaking several projects in partnerships with other entities. The most notable of these are shifting the construction of the Edgewater Community and Recreation Center to be managed by the Zoning Authority and co-locating a new Millersville library at the YMCA facility. These partnerships will allow us to build these projects faster and cheaper than our traditional CIP process. In closing, I thank you for this opportunity to present a budget overview tonight. The county executive and the entire budget team look forward to working with the county council and the auditor as we work to strike a budget that meets the priority needs of our county residents. Copies of the entire budget, including budget highlights, are available on the budget office website at www.aacounty.org. Thank you, and good evening.
Next time I want you to do it without notes. Mr. Auld.
Thank you very much. I think I just heard more numbers than I have heard in a long time ago, maybe since at least last Wednesday. And I think the green must have to do with all the money all going to flow out this way. All right, thank you all so much for your support over many years. We really appreciate it, and I especially want to thank you for pay increases in recent years. Thanks to funding that you provided, library salaries have increased by more than $4 million over the past 2 fiscal years, from about $23.5 million in FY23. That includes $2 million in market adjustments, which brought our employees to parity with their peers in other library systems. And just as a note, I did a little math, and it's 2 years is 17% higher with this year that we're in now, which is higher than we were in FY23. For the fiscal 26 budget, the county executive proposed 3% cost of living and 3% merit pay increases for all library employees. We worked closely with the budget office starting back in December, and we're thankful for this proposed budget. Unfortunately, we were not able to reach agreement with the union prior to the county executive submitting his proposed budget, but we're grateful that he's included this amount for our staff. I also want to mention some capital projects that will benefit county residents immensely over the next several years. The new Glen Burnie Library is being designed as we speak. Our architects held meetings with library staff and with the community and came up with very exciting ideas for what is needed in the Glen Burnie Library. We're also pleased to be partnering with County Cultural Resources on a joint project that will create amazing resources in this northern part of our county. The capital improvement plan also proposes a major renovation of the Brooklyn Park Library that will significantly improve access to those resources. The FY26 budget includes funding for a partnership with the Y of Central Maryland in Millersville, near Veterans Highway and West Benfield Road. That's a very exciting project that Mr. Crumbauer alluded to. Finally, there's money for a study of where the new Mountain Road Library can be. And Mr. Volpe has given us several leads on that, which we really appreciate. And the County Department of Public Works has been working with us and working to initiate that study. You know from our work session a week ago this past Monday that we are keenly interested in 2 full-time positions and 3 Maryland Corps service member positions. The service member positions will cost a little more than $100,000, and this is one-time funding, not recurring. If there's any possibility for this one-time funding, we will greatly appreciate it. Thank you very much for your steadfast support of the library, and good luck as you deliver it.
Thank you, Mr. Auld. Christine,
Good evening. My name is Christina Furman. I'm a high school English teacher and currently serving as president of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. We are glad to see that County Executive Pittman's proposed budget continues to significantly invest in Anne Arundel County's public schools. I'm here tonight to ask for your thoughtful consideration to find funding for 2 necessary areas: sustaining the public education profession and retaining dedicated staff. Sustaining the profession means ensuring that educators have workloads that are manageable so that educators can thrive rather than survive, or just survive. We are concerned that many requested positions were not funded. This includes 7.5 school counselors, 3 pupil personnel workers, 2 social workers, and 2 school psychologists. All of these positions are critical to supporting students so they come to school ready to learn. To ensure that each student gets the individualized attention they need, we urge you to fund as many of these positions as possible. What is particularly distressing is that only 28 of the requested 155 special education positions were funded. That's less than 20%. While many of these unfunded positions are classroom teachers, which will help reduce caseloads for current special educators, there are other positions being requested as well. 26 positions would support our youngest, most vulnerable children from birth to 5 years old. Right now, only 1 of 5 occupational therapists and 2 of 6 speech language pathologists are funded. 28 positions are IEP facilitators who support IEP teams, ensuring students get the supports they need to make academic progress. Special education, particularly at the elementary level, is in a crisis due to understaffing. More teaching assistants are needed to ensure there's a safe and orderly learning environment. Now, we know there's hesitation to fund positions that the school system has previously struggled to fill. However, ACPS has made huge gains over the years to fill vacancies. Ultimately, the school system can't recruit for positions they don't have funding for. We urge you to find the additional funding for as many of these unfunded positions as possible. All are essential. Retaining our staff is critical. This is done by not only making the job sustainable, but providing competitive salaries. We're glad that Dr. Goodell's request for a step and 3% COLA was funded. However, the Board of Ed made additional amendments. One, further increased compensation by asking for an additional mid-year 1% COLA, making our salaries more competitive all the way to the top of the scale. They also requested a $1,000 incentive for staff who have 30 or more years of experience to retain these educators who have institutional knowledge and content expertise, serving as mentors for our newer educators. Finally, this budget cycle provides an opportunity to support our school counselors who have earned national board certification. School counselors have been lobbying for years to be included in the new blueprint mandated career ladder salary scale. This year, the Board of Ed finally included them. However, this was not funded in the county executive's budget. Now is the time for you, the county council, to find the $100,000 needed to fund this. School counselors play a critical role in supporting students' academic as well as social and emotional needs. They deserve to be able to join the career ladder along with classroom teachers. Finally, I do want to add our support for County Executive Pittman's efforts in the budget to protect our community by providing funding for housing assistance as well as the Family Protection Initiative to support children whose parents need to be there. We recognize the need to be prepared to maintain programs that support our most vulnerable residents if there's a loss of federal funding, as well as the need to bolster the rainy day fund in case of economic downturn. It's unfortunate that due to the current administration's actions, we are forced to put millions of dollars in reserve that could be used to further strengthen our school system right now. We know these are difficult budgetary times. We urge you to find any additional funding that provides more school staffing and increase educator compensation. Investing in our educators is an investment in our children, and we all know that our children are worth the investment. Thank you.
Open our public hearing on the proposed FY26 budget. We will now call on individuals who signed up ahead of the meeting. When your name is called, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address before making your remarks. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. I'm going to call 3 at a time so you can have people waiting ready to go. Vanessa Carter, Amy Canterbury, and Colin Chappell. And just to let people know, Ms. Fiedler could not be here in person tonight, but she is watching us on the live stream if you all want to wave to her. She's watching.
Good evening, Madam Chair and distinguished council members. My name is Vanessa Carter. I'm your voting team and I'm a member of the Board of Directors of the Arundel County Food Bank. Thank you for the opportunity to speak on behalf of this important organization. Specifically, I'm asking that you leave intact the $2.1 million funding currently in the proposed budget. The county food bank is providing an average of 48,000 instances of service every month to individuals facing food insecurity. choose between eating and paying rent, heating their homes, paying for medicines, or any number of other essential items. You've helped us in the past, and we're asking that you continue to help us by approving $2.1 million in the next fiscal year. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Carter.
Good evening, council members. My name is Colin Chappell. I'm an Mythica. I work for Arundel County Public Libraries as a library associate. And I'm here on behalf of my coworkers in Arundel Library Workers United to ask for your support in getting our very first union contract to the finish line with a fair increase in staff salaries in the next fiscal year. As we move deeper into a period of economic uncertainty, we know that the residents of Anne Arundel County are going to rely more and more on the resources, services, and expertise of library workers. We saw this during the Great Recession in 2008 and 2009. We saw it again during the pandemic when our workers adapted our services to reach folks at home. And every day our workers are leading story times and book clubs. They're organizing programs on healthy aging for older adults, providing safe spaces and after-school activities for teens, processing the hundreds of thousands of physical and digital items in our collection, and keeping our library buildings clean and secure. Library workers, in short, help the residents of Anne Arundel County find jobs, find community, and find their voice. That's why it's absolutely essential that Anne Arundel County invest in fair raises for library staff in FY26. Progress has been made, but the truth is, many of our workers are still not paid a living wage and simply can't afford to live in the county working one job. And lower salaries have consequences. Among other things, they contribute to turnover, which creates staffing shortages and places a greater burden on workers across our library system. Adjusting to these shortages means we have less time to give our residents and less time to fulfill the many roles we play in our communities every day. Our union has been negotiating with management since October, and we've made progress towards finalizing a contract. And truth be told, we are not far apart on wages. What we're asking for is roughly $79,000 to increase COLA for AACPL workers in FY26. Library staff are doing all the right things to help our county residents. We just need you to help continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Making way with my Laura Kelman, Dr. Sean Ashworth, and Tanya Cooper Johnson. So, Ms. Canterbury?
Hi, good evening. My name is Amy Canterbury. I'm proud school counselor at Cat North in Summer, Maryland. And every day I have the honor to work with over 1,500 students from 8 Anne Arundel County high schools. Students who are trained to be chefs, cosmetologists, electricians, mechanics, nurses, and more. My role as school counselor goes far beyond the classroom, and no 2 days are ever the same. I might be teaching a lesson in life after high school, helping a student in crisis find safety, locating food and shelter for a teen without a home, or sitting with a parent doing their best to support their child. These are real kids facing real challenges, and I'm honored to walk alongside them every day. To do this work, I earned a master's degree in school counseling, and I've completed over 60 additional graduate credits to stay current in a constantly changing world. In 2022, I achieved my National Board Teaching Certification in school counseling. I'm proud to be one of only 8 school counselors in Anne Arundel County Public Schools to have this distinction. Yet, unlike National Board Certified teachers who receive $10,000 or more annually, school counselors receive nothing. Same certification, same high standards, no recognition. That's not just a financial gap, it's a message that our work matters less. Counselors are the heartbeat of the school. We're there in moments of crisis and moments of growth, supporting students through both the planned and the unexpected. Tonight, I'm asking for equal recognition of our training, our impact, and our dedication. Please extend the same compensation to National Board Certified School Counselors as it is provided to our fellow educators. Stand with us and show that our work matters too. Thank you for your time and for supporting those who support your children.
Good evening. My name is Laura Kilman. I am a library associate in our public library system, and I'm speaking for my coworkers in our our county's newest union, Arundel Library Workers United. We represent about 400 people across 2 units. We've been negotiating to create our first contract since last autumn, and the team has done great work. Unfortunately, our administration has given their last, best, and final offer without including 2 key things: fair pay and basic union protection. Library staff are here tonight to ask you to encourage them to reconsider. Many of my coworkers want a contract to contain basic union protections. This is essentially the same non-discrimination language in all other ASME contracts with this county. Howard County has a brand new contract with their library staff, and their admin agreed to this language right away. We are at a loss as to why our admin is fighting so hard to keep it out. They want us to take our discrimination issues to the EOC, but anything related to diversity, equity, and inclusion is being dismantled by the federal government. And our transco workers wouldn't have that avenue available. The EOC has sidelined all gender identity cases, which is incredibly insulting. Our library is doing all the right things to serve our county residents, from one-on-one tech help at the desk to outreach to families unable to come in. We just need your help now to continue. Please direct our administration to give us fair pay and basic union protection. We honor workers' rights here in Anne Arundel County. We always have. Will the library be the first place where we don't? Thank you for your time.
Good evening, council members. My name is Shawn Ashford. I reside in Pasadena, Maryland. I lead the pop-up pantry in Edgewater of the Holy Temple Church, and also down in Brooklyn with Food for Thought Community Outreach. I'm here tonight not just as a community leader, but as someone who has looked in the eyes of neighbors facing hunger and seen the quiet desperation that comes with not knowing where your meal will come from. I'm asking you to please keep the $2.1 million in funding for Anne Arundel County Food Bank in the FY 2026 budget. Maintaining this funding is not just about food. It is about preserving the dignity and stability of thousands of families. This isn't just a number. It's meals for Mr. Wolf, who relies on our pantry because he can't afford his medication that keeps him alive. It's about formula for Miss Amelia, a young mom who's trying to do her best but falling short because baby food is not a luxury she can barely afford. It's also for Miss Padilla, with a family of 8 who she just wants to make sure that they have access to extra food and that they don't miss a meal. The food bank made 3 million meals possible last year. With your support, we can continue to meet the growing needs, and it's growing. Families are not just looking for food, they're looking for hope. It is about funding the food bank so that it will increase the support to partners like me who are out in these streets, walking with these community neighbors, telling a senior that there's no food or a mother that there's no diapers. I don't want to be the one to say that. So please let's not fail our neighborhood, and let's support Anne Arundel County Food Bank. Thank you so much in advance for the opportunity to share my voice. Good evening.
Thank you, Dr. Cooper Johnson, and the next 3 will be Stacy Smith, Tracy Ahern, and Max Britt. Is Ms. Cooper Johnson here? Okay, well then we will move on to Stacy Smith.
Hi, I'm Stacy Smith. I reside in Gilberty, but I'm going to talk a little bit about Edgewater for a second. So good evening, members of the County Council and fellow members of our community. My name is Stacy Smith, and I'm the proud principal of South River High School in Edgewater, Maryland, and a longtime resident of Anne Arundel County. This is my 25th year in education, and I can genuinely say I love my work. I do what I do because of the students. They are genuinely my why and why I go to work every day. I'm here today to speak in support of the proposed budget and to emphasize the importance and continued increase in investment for public education. Superintendent Dr. Bedell submitted a very robust budget proposal to County Executive Pittman requesting an increase of $105 million over last year's budget. Well, County Executive Pittman supported $52 million of that request. So this proposed funding is meaningful. It fully funds the superintendent's request for compensation and benefits. We have 63 new positions that were allotted there. It meets our blueprint mandates and requirements. It funds laptops for 2 grades at the high school level. It expands middle school athletics. It supports the implementation of a non-invasive weapons detection pilot program. And importantly, it goes $45 million over maintenance of effort. But we all can agree that money is finite. This budget is truly just a beginning. We cannot afford to go backwards. We have to continue to push forward. So every student, every teacher, every administrator, every support staff member, every parent, it's every person who plays a role in our school communities, no matter how large or how small, they deserve the very best that our county can offer. And yet, I tell you that 14 of our elementary schools currently do not have an assistant principal. This places an undue burden on other staff who have to absorb those responsibilities.
Thank you, Ms. Smith. Ms. Abrams.
Good evening, I'm Tracy Aker, and I live at Odenton Minerals. Good evening, council members. I'm Tracy Aker. I'm an educator of 27 years, a proud Anne Arundel County resident, and someone who sees our school system through 2 lenses, as the principal of Richard Henry Lee Elementary School and as the president of the Association of Educational Leaders. Let me begin by thanking County Executive Pittman for the intention, and investment reflected in the proposed budget. I've also seen this council's steadfast commitment to our schools firsthand, and I'm grateful for your continued partnership. The proposed $52 million increase to the budget is more than a number, it's a statement. It funds employee compensation and benefits, new positions, blueprint commitments, safety and opportunity for students. We recognize that going over the maintenance of effort is no small gesture. But we all know this can't be where it ends. Nearly 20% of our elementary schools operate without an assistant principal. In a school building, that's not just a missing person, it's a missing layer of instructional coaching, crisis response, parent communication, and staff support. Our job titles haven't changed, but the expectations placed on our schools have multiplied. The absence of a second administrator doesn't just affect workflow, it affects school climate, teacher retention, and student outcomes. Mental health needs continue to rise, and our staff are doing everything they can. Without more hands, they're stretched too thin. We need more bilingual facilitators to ensure our multilingual families can fully engage in learning, and then we need more special educators to support IEP requirements. I want to take a minute to acknowledge something that is often left unsaid, and in this climate, it's hard to talk about compensation. We don't want to appear ungrateful, and we are not. But we also cannot ignore that Unit 2 leaders continue to face increasing demands without equitable compensation that reflects our responsibilities. Thank you. This budget is a step forward. It needs to be the floor, not the ceiling. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Abrams. Next, Teresa Thomas, Sheen Goldberg, and Kirk Smith. Mr. Brooks.
Good evening, Council. I am Max Gross from Memphis, Maryland. I'm speaking tonight on behalf of Anne Arundel County Association of Realtors. Many of you may have gotten our members' emails this week, so I don't want to be redundant. But I will say that we are in strong opposition to the increase in capital connection fees. And I wanted to share with you an email that I got from one of my members this week. After sending out an email saying, this is happening, someone said, Mr. Gross, respectfully, this issue is all well and good, but ACAR wants to be part of the solution for the housing crisis. We need to build more multi-use districts, transit-oriented developments, and have a plan for where we put places. And I said, well, you should know about Bill 7524 and Bill 225, and we did support that, and so did the County Council. Those bills passed. And I bring that up to point out that this is not an issue for me or for my association or my membership, but this is your issue. You guys have been doing a great job building Anne Arundel County that is better for building and more affordable for living. And in order to keep that going, we can't add costs to the process of building these new developments. And so respectfully, I would ask for Bill 4525 to be withdrawn so that you continue your work towards a more affordable, better building environment in Anne Arundel County. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gross. Teresa Thomas.
Hi, I'm Teresa Thomas. I live in Annapolis, Maryland. I'm a special education teacher for a self-contained classroom of intermediate children ranging from 3rd to 5th grade at Central Elementary School. I'm talking on behalf of the TAC and special education and fully funding Anne Arundel County Public Schools. Dr. Gell has said this year, belong, grow, succeed. But the question is for me, how can our students belong when there's not enough special education teacher to support to take them to their inclusive classes? Their students miss their much needed time with the general education population on their IEPs. How can Anne Arundel County Public School students grow when the TSAs and TAs have to work a second job to make ends meet? The support teachers are leaving for jobs with higher pay and benefits, such as Target and Costco. It's true. How can students grow when teachers have been stretched thin while having to take on additional tasks because there's not enough coverage to support other classroom teachers? How can Anne Arundel County Public Schools succeed when the majority of teachers lose their playing time and lunch dealing with classroom behaviors that disrupt the learning of other students? How can Anne Arundel County Public Schools succeed when we are given high-need special education students without the proper supports in place to handle everyday needs and behaviors? We do not need a repeat of the Bowen Levy tragic death that happened in 2019 in a public school setting because Anne Arundel County Public Schools is not fully funded 100%. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Thomas.
Good evening. My name is Jean Goldberg, and I live in Annapolis. And I have been a teacher in Anne Arundel County Public Schools for 26 years. For 19 of those years, I've actually been in outdoor education, the office of the Mental Literacy or Arlington Echo. And so part of our proposal for this year was to fund teachers who spend the night at Arlington Echo. When I started at Arlington Echo, in 2006, 100% of the schools that came to Arlington Echo spent the night and they provided that experience for the students that were there. And now we're down to under 10% of schools choosing to do that, and the rest of them are coming for an extended day trip. So the schools that do come currently, the teachers are not compensated for that pay. And they have a lot of responsibilities. They may have 80 to 140 students on the site, and they're making arrangements at home. They're, juggling a lot of balls and things like that in order to make that experience happen. The bigger issue in my perspective is that the schools that are coming and spending the night, 80+% of them are our more affluent schools, which means the Title I schools are not getting those experiences. And yet I feel that the students that are coming from the more affluent schools will, possibly have those opportunities with their families or have other chances to have similar experiences in other realms. I don't have the exact number, but the number that was estimated to fund this is about $70,000. I was texting my coordinator to find out what it was, but I have a ballpark here on that. And I just think that the teachers need to be compensated for their time. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. First person, and next three will be Maria Coupe, Stephanie Lushker, and Kevin King. Go ahead, Mr. Prince.
Hi, Kurt Smithson, Arnold, Maryland. I'm not here to argue the
is being distributed in this county. You all have heard my concerns, so I'm really talking to my fellow citizens here. I'm going to share some facts about Anne Arundel County's inequitable implementation of the homestead property tax credit. Did you know 80% of residential properties have a property tax bill that's at least 50% more than similarly valued homes, often right across the street? Did you know this year alone, over $104 million of property tax burden was redistributed to benefit those who own and live in the same home for a long time? There's no age requirement, no income requirement, just because. Did you know our homestead credit is implemented quite differently than in other comparable counties? For example, that $104 million compares to just $2.8 million in Montgomery County. Using public data, I've created a dashboard that lets you find your property and then instantly get a list of all similarly valued properties with a property tax bill that's at least 50% less than yours. Many have 500 or so similar properties. There are flyers circulating in the audience, and in the online testimony there's a link, so you can check it out. Chances are 80% of you are significant losers in this game. Reach out to the county executive and your county council representative to insist this be studied and resolved equitably before the November 2025 deadline for not this year's budget, but next year's budget. So time is of the essence. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Spencer. Maria Cook?
Good evening, Chair Hummer and County Council members. My name is Maria Cote. I'm a District 4 resident, an AACPS graduate, go Arundel, a parent of 2 former AACPS students, a board member of the Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County, and a current teacher at Bates Middle School. Today, as I have in every budget hearing this year, I'm asking you to prioritize and protect funding for the AACPS budget. As you've heard before, Dr. Goodell and the Board of Education requested funding for 155 essential staffing positions, but only 28 were funded in County Executive Pittman's proposal. That means central office staff are scrambling to address the needs of our growing student population, and building-based staff are failing to uphold the educational learning environments our students deserve. I would also like to advocate for the students who are trying to learn. They come prepared to class. They sit quietly, waiting for directions. After directions, they work well. They do the job. The problem is that because class sizes are large, the 2 or 3 disruptive students in class can delay me giving directions for 5 minutes. You might think that's not a lot, but in a 51-minute class period, it's 10% of class time. And that's just one of the times the disruptive students disrupt class. You might think, oh, that's just middle school, but my students deserve better. My students deserve fully staffed schools with systems that keep them learning. And it takes staff to make that happen. You might think AACPS has had a vacancy problem. We can't hire 155 special educators. But my students deserve more than a rotating door of substitutes. My students also deserve teachers' assistants who are paid a living wage when they are punched, spit on, and worse. And if you don't think it happens, I can send you screenshots of people complaining about it. I appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Fisher. Stephanie, motion. It's on tablets.
Good evening, County Council members. My name is Stephanie Bernholz-Boyster. I live in Crownsville in County Council Area 6. I am an early childhood special educator with the AACPS and a member of CAP. I certainly do not envy your position in making budgetary decisions that we are asking of you, especially in this current political climate. But at this point in the school year, I can only give you a glimpse into what I am struggling with as a constituent and as an educator. I am 20 weeks pregnant. I lay awake many nights fearing for my unborn daughter and wondering what I will have to do in the future to protect her. Yesterday, it was the proposed new restrictions on COVID vaccines
that kept me up because who knows what will limit access to next and what that will mean for my health and the health of my child. And then I got up after a handful of fitful hours of sleep, and I went to my wildly overcrowded classroom. Mind you, not officially overcrowded, but practically overcrowded in my ability to actually serve my students. And I look at my students, and I wonder what I can do to protect them as our resources and our hope are endlessly whittled away. Whether it is the loss of a functional federal Department of Education or the real loss of funds, public education in general and special education in particular are teetering on the brink. To that end, I am asking you and begging you to give me and my colleagues something to hold on to for hope. Give us what we so desperately need to keep our students safe. Right now, his testimony is all that I can do for my daughter and for every child in this county, but I hope that you find a way to do more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Davis. The next group to come up after this will be Joy Reader Simpson, Nicole Dvorak, and Donna Kennedy.
Good evening, council members. Thank you for taking the time to hear from me today. My name is Kevin Eaton, a junior at Southern High School in Harwood, Maryland. I'm a student in the Case Agricultural Program and an active member in Southern FFA. I am here today on behalf of myself, fellow students, and future students to ask for your consideration and funding for the CASE programs in Anne Arundel County. The CASE programs prepare students for career opportunities in fields such as soil and plant science, agriculture engineering, and food science. CASE fosters active participation and strengthens understanding of scientific topics while enhancing critical thinking and problem-solving abilities that engage students in hands-on activities that build confidence, leadership, and prepare them to be proactive members of their community. The career insights and soft skills developed have given me the opportunity to gain valuable experiences and prepare me for a path in food science. They have allowed me to travel across the nation to compete and win in competitions that provide real-world, hands-on experience that build my leadership skills and allow me to give back to my community. Agriculture is the backbone of our civilization. The development of farming allowed humans to stop roaming to gather food and to settle in one place, which led to the development of villages, cities, and later civilization. In modern times, agriculture remains essential to feed communities, fuel industries, and address challenges like climate change, sustainability, and food security. Funding the ACE program means supporting education that goes beyond the textbooks. It means empowering the next generation of innovators and environmental leaders. It means strengthening our local economy, local communities, and local businesses. It is a choice to build a future where students lead, innovate, and make a difference. When you invest in the CASE program, you're investing in the next generation of change makers, because CASE doesn't just teach facts, it inspires action. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not here to know everyone, but I'm really glad when students come out and advocate. Joy Reader Simpson.
Joy Ryder Simpson, Annapolis High School English teacher, member of the board of directors for the terrific Teachers Association of Anne Arundel County. First, I want to start by thanking the board members, the esteemed members of the board, for all the work that you do on behalf of the county and our public schools. But I'm going to submit to you respectfully, it's not enough. And it's not enough, as you've heard tonight, teachers are frustrated, we're overwhelmed, and we're overworked, and we're overburdened. And the sector that is probably the most overwhelmed right now is special education. I am not a special educator, but I co-taught classes, which means a special educator pushes into my classroom and teaches with me. I will tell you, in 18 years of teaching, the worst experience I have had teaching is co-teaching English 10 in Anne Arundel County Public Schools. And I've co-taught in other county public schools before, and it works wonderfully. But because our special educators are so overwhelmed, they cannot do the job adequately, and they cannot ensure that our students can grow, belong, and succeed. I want to throw out a few names for now to you. Albert Einstein, Thomas Edison, Walt Disney, Leonardo da Vinci, and George Washington, and my son Jacob. These are all people who share one thing in common: their special ed. Right? These are all people who have diagnosed, and experts have said have had diagnosed learning disabilities. Our students are 9,000 plus students in this county who have special ed services who deserve better than what they're getting. We asked for over 150 positions. You came back with 28. And let me tell you, that is mildly disturbing. It's almost insulting if you're a classroom teacher and a special ed teacher. Just this week, we had special ed teachers getting coverage so they could complete their work. Thank you. I'm going to ask you to do that.
Thank you, Ms. Myerson. Mr. Ward.
Good evening, Council Chair Hummer and fellow council members. My name is Nicole Korczak. I live in Laurel. I was on the Baltimore County Public Library's first union contract negotiating committee, and I advocate for library staff and public employees across the state. I have testified at Anne Arundel County Budget Town Halls for the past 2 years about how terribly the library staff are paid. At the January District 4 Budget Town Hall, I spoke about how I submitted PA requests for the union busting contracts the county has and separately that the library has. I mentioned that the library system is currently paying Venable, one of the most abusive union busting firms in existence, at $680 an hour. The county also has its own contract with Venable, and even though they redacted what they are paying, they're potentially paying $1,000 an hour. Apparently, there is an endless pot of money for punching public staff because the county also has a contract with Harris Jones and Malone. I followed up my testimony and shared the copies of the contracts with Council Chair Hummer and Councilmember Smith, Pickard, and Robian. Council Chair Hummer was the only one who responded. If it's still in the budget, what you can cut is the funding for the county's labor relations contracts. You have an entire office of lawyers in the CAO's office. The county executive has chosen to waste hundreds of thousands of dollars for contracts that you can't afford and shouldn't have. You can also tell ACPL that they need to shift the massive amount of money they pay Venable to give that money to frontline staff. And for the record, in 2023, and probably still, your library CEO is paid more than any other library director in the state at $245,000. Meanwhile, at that same time period, 375 library employees weren't paid enough to afford a one-bedroom, which is an unforgivable nearly 80% of library staff. And apparently, what library management is fighting against right now are they're fighting against better anti-discrimination protections for staff. And do you know what needs to happen? I'm almost done. What needs to happen if any director for any public department is held bent on making sure they needs to resign. So please do better. Thank you.
Donna Kennedy.
Good evening, council members. My name is Donna Kennedy. I'm a resident in Pasadena District 3 and a proud school counselor at Jacobsville Elementary in Pasadena. I'm here to advocate for the $87,000 budget amendment to provide national board certified school counselors with the same salary enhancement as our peers. The Anne Arundel County Board of Education has already voted unanimously 8-0 to include us. I am an NBCT in exceptional needs that I initially earned as a special educator, for special educators. I chose to become a school counselor and renew my NBCT status because of the far-reaching impact we have. The work of a school counselor isn't always quantifiable, but its effects can span a student's lifetime. The blueprint for Maryland's future emphasizes enhancing student learning and holistic student support. You cannot separate a student's social-emotional health from their ability to learn. School counselors are integral to the wraparound services for the whole child, a promise in Pillar 4 of the blueprint. We are accountable to students, families, teachers, and administrators, and our work doesn't end when the bell rings. Counselors in Anne Arundel County are required to spend 80% of our time in direct services to students. We are deeply committed to their success. My coworkers often tell me I am the heart of our school, where we literally would fall apart without you here. My fellow NBCT counselors hear similar comments daily. If our peers and our own Board of Education can see our value, I know you can too. Please fund this budget. We have certainly done the work to earn it, and although our devotion to the whole student and goal of excellence will not waver if we are not included, we deserve the same equity as our educational peers. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you, Ms. Kennedy. Bill Johnson, Chloe Birch, Catherine Hall Gray, and Doug Bailey.
Hi, good evening, council members. My name is Will Johnson. I live in Laurel. I'm a third grade teacher in Seven Oaks Elementary in Oakton. I stand here tonight both grateful and determined. The education budget before you is truly historic. It would invest a record $1.18 billion in our public schools, marking a $52 million increase over the last year. This is one of the largest one-year boosts that our school system has ever seen. And it will go is well funded and with this long-awaited raises to our educators. Step increase and a 3% cost of living adjustment, as well as dozens of new positions in critical areas such as special education, bilingual support, and student mental health. For this commitment to our students and our teachers, I sincerely thank you. Yet, even with this progress, we know it's not enough. County Executive Pittman himself acknowledged that this record funding is only about half of what the Board of Education requested. Our educators are still under serious strain. Last year's raise lifted teacher salaries marginally, but with raises to our contribution in healthcare, much of these gains were not felt by our educators. Simply put, our teachers deserve much more support. Our special education programs, too, remain strained. With this budget, it adds 28 special education positions. It still does not fill a gap, meaning some students with disabilities may continue to go without the full support that they need in the classroom. And we are still battling staff shortages across the board. We began this year with about 138 teacher vacancies, an improvement over the past years, but still goes far too many teachers and leaves far too many classrooms without a permanent teacher and a special educator to support our most vulnerable students. Shortages of substitutes, bus drivers, and other support staff persist as well, stretching our resources thin, which is why we need to make sure that they are paid a livable wage. Passing this budget is vital, but it is just the start of our renewed commitment to our schools. I urge you not only to approve this budget, but also to sustain and build on these investments in the years ahead. Our educators pour their hearts into this work, and our children, especially those in the greatest needs, are counting on us to stand with them.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. Chloe Birch.
Good evening. My name is Chloe Birch, and I currently employed as a certified nursing assistant at Westmead Early Education Center. My role is challenging and important, however, the pay does not reflect the true value of this work. I believe health assistants and nurses are the backbone of student health and safety within the public school system. I currently earn $20.95 an hour. At this rate, I can only pay for my student loans and barely meet my daily needs. I have goals of saving for a home, retirement, and paying off my student debt. The cost of living in Maryland is expected to be higher, more than normal in 2026. I am asking for the proposed 3% adjustment that would help towards basic living expenses and an additional 7% increase to recognize the true value of the work itself, which would be an additional $2.10 per hour. It is much more than giving Band-Aids and ice packs. This past year, I have seen the day-to-day challenges that many students and families encounter. For example, economic, cultural, and language barriers, or limited access to health care. In a single month, my health room has served up to 640 students, addressing more than 100 head injuries, along with numerous other health-related concerns that require my dedicated care and clinical attention. As a sole health professional in my health room, I often work independently due to our elementary school sharing a school nurse across 2 schools. From providing basic first aid to delivering services delegated by the RN and facilitating communication between families and staff, I actively advocate for students ensuring they are safe, well cared for, informed about their health, and supported in maintaining their well-being. My main goal is to ensure that these students have the resources to reach their fullest potential to learn and grow.
This proposal would bring wages for health assistants to approximately $23.05 per hour. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Burns.
Hi, good evening, Madam Chairperson and honorable members of the council. My name is Catherine Hallway. I am a resident in Annapolis, and I am one of the teachers in Mills Pearl Elementary School, and we just celebrated a Teacher of the Year in our school. We're a Title I school, a community school. And I am here, basically, I'm going to piggyback on my colleagues. I really do appreciate the gains that we've made. I'm also a special needs teacher. I work in an alternate curriculum classroom, so I have some severe to profound. I have the children who are basically one step out of the centers that we have. Having said that, I want you to really, really think of how it is impacting us. We had our meeting this morning. We're already planning, what are we going to do next year? How are we going to place these students next year when we have a reduction in force? We are not going to have the TSAs that we might have expected to have. We are not going to have, this puts us in a liable situation. It puts us in a very bad safety situation. I have been spit on, punched, kicked, bitten, everything. My children don't do this intentionally. They have needs, and so it's a huge spectrum with our special needs students. From you can have a mild disability all the way up to our medically fragile students. But I just really want you to think about this because it is very scary. And one of the incidents that happened in one of our schools a few years ago, I every single day, the entire school day, worried if that could happen to us, well, because we are short-staffed. And please do whatever you can to protect all of our students.
Thank you, Ms. Gray.
Good evening, Chairwoman Hummer and distinguished council members. My name is Jack Bailey. I'm from Glen Burnie. I lead the Hands and Feet for Jesus Ministry at Faith Glen Burnie. I'm here tonight to ask you to leave intact the $2.1 million in funding for the work of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank, currently included in the proposed FY26 budget. Last winter, we had a middle-aged man come to our weekly food distribution who said he and his elderly grandmother were homeless and sleeping outside. Presumably, what he received that day was the only food they could count on for the entire week. It is not an exaggeration to say that the money the Anne Arundel County Food Bank receives and the food it distributes saves lives. Our pantry alone, we feed around 135 people each week, sometimes upwards of 200. Last year alone, the Anne Arundel County Food Bank distributed over 4.1 million pounds of food, including more than 1.3 million pounds of fresh produce and proteins. Again, our pantry, fresh produce alone, we distribute 800 pounds each week. Many working people in our community must rely on the resources provided by the Anne Arundel County Food Bank to their local pantries to keep food on the table and their families fed and healthy. Thank you, Council, for your previous support of the Anne Arundel County Food Bank. I urge you to leave intact funding for the food bank in the FY26 budget and continue to distribute this crucial support to our most vulnerable neighbors across the Anne Arundel County. Thank you for the opportunities.
Thank you, Ms. Bailey. If there's anyone else here who wishes to speak, please come up to the microphone and state your name and address before making your remarks. Remarks will be limited to 2 minutes. And remember, if you spoke at last week's public hearing, you can only speak one time, so you can't speak again tonight. But if there's anyone else who would like to come up, please do.
Madam Chair, Council, good evening. For the record, Paul Higgins, I reside in Pasadena. I'm the speaker who's been waiting for tonight. And I'm really bringing something up that has kind of been a sabbatical year after year, and it has to do with the capital project with Jump Shoulder of the between year 2 and 177. In years past, you've had people parade to this microphone to talk about the need for bike paths and sidewalks and how dangerous it was. You didn't hear anyone come up here, and I didn't see anything in the online testimony. There is also in there a need for a desire for a traffic light at Asbury and Creekstone. I would ask that you continue to support the funding for the design so we can determine what needs to be done. Design's only at 65%. Even though we got traffic light design that's 100%. And we got letters saying they're going to start construction in July now. I had a meeting with staff. They told me that's going to be tabled until we sort this out. So I want you to pay attention to the language in your budget justification book. The last sentence, it provides Woodhome with connections to that traffic light. Okay? If that gets changed, that changes the dynamics. That's a fragile piece of road. I'm not here to say we want to do what's right, and we can't decide what's right until we get our study done and design. So I leave you with that. I'll let you work with Public Works tomorrow, and maybe you can find out some more. So thank you very much for what you do, and have a good evening.
Can you hear me? All right, so I turned it on. All right. The public hearing on the proposed FY26 budget is now closed. Is there any other business any council member would like to bring before the county council at this time? All right, may I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. The county council is adjourned until May 22nd, 2025 at 9 a.m. when we will meet virtually to continue with our department budget presentations. Remember to check the county website for important information and updates on our meetings. Thank you all for coming out, and have a good night.